Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. EQA Nostalgia here. I want to talk to you guys today about housing in Monsters and Memories. I've been thinking a lot about this, actually, because I really like housing when it's done right. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's not done right. And once again, I sound like a broken record over here. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, and it's got me thinking, man, it really sucks having to wait to try to get a house. It's really expensive, and then there's this system where you have to put in for a lottery to even get a chance to bid on the house or something like that. And it's ridiculous. It just seems like it's out of my reach. So I just kind of settled for this crappy apartment, and I'm trying to spruce it up to the best of my ability, because even if I can afford a house, they're limited, and if you don't log in for a certain period of time, you lose that house. You do recoup some of your money and some of the furniture and whatnot in your house, but it's a pain in the ass. And then I take a look at World of Warcraft retail, which is something I haven't enjoyed in years, and their housing looks pretty amazing. It's basically everything that I'd want in an MMORPG's housing. It's instanced, so I don't have to worry about, people getting ridiculously rich and owning everything, like one or two guilds owning everything on the server. And now, of course, I'm talking about Final Fantasy XIV, but a lot of this stuff reflects in Monsters and Memories. We don't know exactly what everything's going to look like. They're still ironing it out. This is a game that's still in early development after all. And that's another one of the concerns. The fact that they're even really messing with housing this early on, when a lot of people feel like, hey, how come you're not working on core systems and this and that? But it's their game. They're going to develop it the way that they want. And I still have faith in this game. I know that that's been shaken by recent events. I'd be remiss not to bring this stuff up. It would be like ignoring the elephant in the room. But we had an issue with Nick, who left. He left the team a while ago, and then they changed things with classes, how classes work. Specifically, people got really pissed off about Shaman and Shadow Knight in particular, and this doesn't impact me at all because it's not really any of the classes that I'm interested in. Shaman a little bit, especially the misses. The core fantasy of Shaman has been pretty changed drastically. Let's just put it that way. You're not going to have like an animal form or anything like that anymore. You're not going to have a pet. To me, that's just, I'm hard locked into EQOA and the way that they handled Shaman, and many people with EverQuest 1. But yeah, Shadow Knight, people hate the fantasy, the way they changed it into like a Monster Hunter type thing. And the devs have said, hey, it's not really changing that much. It wasn't really worded very well, but still, people, they really want that dark fantasy of being, leaning on necromantic style magic, and they're trying to separate that to give it its own unique identity. And I think that it kind of backfired, at least for now. We haven't really seen anything of it to see how it's going to play. But yeah, it's how it is. People are fickle, man. They change something, they get pissed off, right? And then we had early access get pushed back several months, which didn't bother me at all. I've said numerous times, if it takes them another 2 or 3 years before this thing's out, that's fine with me, because I want it to be very polished. When you bring a game to early access, one of the most important things is that people say, wow, this is great for an early access game. This is so polished. That's like the high mark you want to reach for on early access. So, I mean, even if they pushed it back further, it wouldn't bother me. But there's been kind of a lull lately, and people are, they're kind of shaken, especially if you take a look at a lot of the stuff that's been happening with other games like Ashes of Creation and so many before it. People are just kind of jaded, and, it's something that I think we need to bring up. So there's people who are talking about housing. Maybe this should just wait. What's the big deal? My main concern with it is, once again, that it's not going to be open to everybody. I think there's going to be, basically, you're going to end up with the barons, the banker barons who own basically everything. And it's really difficult for other people to get their foot in the door to own a home. I don't know if they plan on making it so if you don't log in, you get evicted, like with Final Fantasy XIV, and then all of a sudden all the money you spent I don't know if it's get refunded to you. There's a lot of questions, right? So this is something that's in early development. Once again, we don't know exactly how it's going to pan out, but it is a concern that it's not instanced. That's the main problem I have with it straight away, because it adds so many problems. And I do get that it's cool when you're walking down the street, and they've talked about it, how they're going to let people decorate the porches, and outside their windows, like you can hang different types of shades and whatnot, and have like flower pots and all these different things out on your porch, which will be pretty cool. It'll add some flair, and it'll be unique, and it'll always change because you'll have people coming in and out and changing things. Maybe they won't move, they just get bored and they want to shake it up. On the holidays, you could have decorations out on people's porch. So it is an interesting thing, but I think that it would be nice if they would at least offer something for people who don't have the big bucks, you know what I mean? They haven't been on the server forever. It's another thing is that when people come into a server, if it's been around for a long time, their chance of getting a house is even worse, because now, the market is completely saturated and people have made their money and there's no way they're catching up, and they're never going to have that home. So it would be nice if they would have something like apartments, which is what Final Fantasy XIV does again, but bigger maybe. I've got this one room and I'm just trying to divide it and make it look like it's an actual apartment and not just a big block that I'm living in. So I'm putting up like partitions to try to it's still early. There's a lot of stuff I have to add to it, but it is interesting that you can craft furniture. I love that kind of stuff. It's another one of the things I loved about housing. EverQuest 2 had a really nice housing setup. I actually liked Elder Scrolls Online's housing as well, but it was kind of a pain in the ass with how much that game expected you to reach for your wallet to buy these places. I'm not sure how many of them you could buy without doing that. It's been a long time since I've played ESO. WildStar had fantastic housing that unfortunately I missed, but I hear about it constantly. Whenever people talk about housing, WildStar is it's right up there. And again, I'm pretty sure that was instanced. You had your own stuff, so you didn't have to worry about people keeping you out in the cold, And of course, as usual, I get into editing and I realize I didn't point out my favorite housing ever, which is in Fallout 76 of all games. I know some people are sticking their nose up at that right now, but the housing in this game is really good, especially on PC when you pair it up with mods. I've been able to create some really cool stuff. Like I made this tavern. It's got like a Halloween vibe going on. All the posters in here are from legit bands back in the day. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s advertisements from back in the day, like the 50s and 60s Halloween advertisements and whatnot. And it ties together into a really nice setup. And I've been able to build a bunch of different things. This is just one of them, but this is the tavern it's got like an arcade upstairs, and it's actually has a movie theater attached to the top of it, where you can go in the back and you'll watch a movie with, again, real posters from movies that came out, and it's period accurate. So, yeah, nothing has ever really been able to match 76 for me for that reason, because there's just a ton of variety. I get to build everything. There's prefabs that are really nice, or you can just build stuff from scratch, and there's a ton of stuff to add in. I mean, obviously, it's not like Fallout 4, where everything is basically free. The stuff that's in the Atom shop that I've had to purchase, or usually I'll just grind for it in the game and use the currency in the game. But I didn't want to leave this out because this is my favorite housing system of all time. And this is the most recent video I believe that they've done talking about housing. I'll just let this play for a moment so people can get caught up on what they're thinking.
So we're continuing to prop out the city, but also keep in mind that a lot of what you're seeing is player housing. And so that's going to be decorated by you guys, both inside and out. Ideally, over time, you'll be changing out the signs, doors. I'd like to make it so that these are attach points for awnings. Potentially, it's like some maybe other attach points for light. Is it a sconce? Is it a torch? Window dressing. So you'll start to see different window dressing based off of what people swap out. People with porches and balconies and things like that will have volume like this. I'm pretty sure when we set it up, I wouldn't be shocked if this is defined as an outdoor volume where they could put some stuff that's sitting out here and maybe some furniture stuff that's kind of, sprucing the place up. Areas with courtyards like this, there's a volume here. This is all one house if I'm not mistaken, so they can have a lot of stuff there. Can you sell stuff in the front of your house too? Yep, We really want people to feel like they have an opportunity to have their own shop or have their own storage depot.
So that right there is pretty awesome. Having your own store. It's kind of difficult to do that with an instance, right? Because a lot of people aren't going to be going into the same instance unless it's, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of complicated. I guess if you have an instance, you still have people that go into them. You could have, like, say an instance holds like 100 people per instance. So yeah, it wouldn't be the same as having a shop that's like right out there and not instanced in the main Night Harbor City or any other place in the game. In order to do it this way, they really have to have a ton of properties, and that's a lot of development. Where if you instance it, this is another concern. If you instance it, it's a lot easier to develop for. You're not having to develop these places individually. While they're awesome because they're a part of the actual game world you're running around in, they have to be tailor fit and made in each and every single city. And there has to be enough of them so that people feel like they can actually afford one at some point. And again, eventually it's all going to be bought up, and that's it. And then there's the ugly side of it where you've got people who sell this kind of shit on a market for real dollars. You know what I mean? And it just gets kind of shady and shitty. I think they should just go with instance housing. And I like this comment. I wanted to read it to you guys. It's cool. I like it, but I played Ultima Online, and I've seen what happens when players are allowed to occupy real space in the game world like this. Eventually, it's all going to be claimed. That's just the nature of it. Everyone else will be permanently locked out from ever finding their home, because what's going to happen is super guilds are going to get together and wipe out entire sections of the city for their members. Then people are going to go inactive for the most part and continue paying their subscription just to maintain their house, like in Final Fantasy XIV. So this is a thing as well. If you don't want to get evicted, you're pouring money into it even if you're not paying. And now it's kind of got like a FOMO toxicity to it, and it really sucks. Or you have to do a damn lottery to get a house when one comes on the market occasionally. I hope they have some way to deal with this so that anybody who isn't there and frantically grinding from day one doesn't look around and feel completely hopeless because they're forever locked out from ever having one. Exactly. 110%. And it's unfortunate that there isn't a response here from the devs saying, hey, we're still working on it. You see here, they mentioned, in a perfect world would be great, stealth, nerfed housing, and didn't put all the crappy blah, blah, blah. So he's pissed about something that they did with furniture, but that's all going to be getting changed. I would like to see this response up here. Like, hey, we're still considering doing something instanced. Because I'm telling you, man, he's absolutely right. Everything that he said is absolutely correct. And yeah, I don't like the idea that you can just buy up everything and then that's it, and you're gonna have that happen. So yeah, I guess that's my 2 cents on housing. I try not to be negative when I make stuff like this, but if you care about something, and I think a lot of people get this twisted, if you care about something, then you're gonna complain about things that you don't like. It's not that people are just being haters, because I see that sometimes, and sometimes I get caught up in that too. I'll be like, oh, you guys, you got to stop hating, because I read a lot of negativity over time, and it just like, stop hating. But it's not really so much that people hate, it's that they care about something enough that they want it to turn out the right way. They want it to be successful, and they want it to be fun. So yeah, and really the only way to avoid this problem is to have some form of instanced housing, giving people their own like apartments that hopefully, like I said, are not microscopic, tiny little rooms that you get in Final Fantasy XIV, because that ain't it, man. I mean, it's better than Final Fantasy XI. If you take a look at Final Fantasy XI here, which I've been playing as well, I've been having tons of fun with Final Fantasy. It's been a very nostalgic spring for me so far. But if you look at this room, it's really nice, but it's really small, and I don't think you can ever increase it. I believe you can put decorations in here. I haven't really gotten into the housing much in 11, but it's not great, right? And when you've got these other games that have done it so well, and they did it years ago, especially when they shut down, it pisses you off. It's like, look, they had a great idea here. This game absolutely nailed it. How come you don't do what WildStar did? Or how come you don't do what EverQuest 2 did? Take the things that we've already seen people do this and how successful it can be. It really needs to be instanced in some way. So I think that the best solution is to have both, right?
Both? Both. Both is good.
If you want to be the guy out on the block and everybody can see your house and you want to show off, right? And you want to buy like the whole place for your guild and haha, our guild runs this town. That's cool, actually. That's a cool bit of role play that I know people are into. But why not offer something for the people who can't afford to, flex like that? Just give them something that's instanced. It doesn't have to be massive, but it shouldn't be microscopic. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. At this point, I want to kick it over to you guys. What you think about the housing situation in Monsters and Memories? Do you guys plan on playing it when it enters into early access? Are you completely put off by all the stuff that's been going on? I want to hear from you guys. I want to get a feel for what the community is thinking about the game lately. Smash that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.
And living in a van down by the river. Nostalgia. It's delicate.